the Economic Commission for Africa and the African Airlines Association indicates that airlines in Africa made a revenue loss of over $10 billion in 2020 due to the impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the report, which analyzed financing options and cost structures of airlines, revealed huge differences in the size and structure of their debts. The organization said this suggested that stakeholders in the sector may not need a one-size-fits-all solution to address liquidity challenges. However, they did say financial support to the sector must be tailored to the specific features of airlines. Also needed is direct support from governments and the creation of platforms to coordinate efforts towards the survival of the industry. Well, earlier I had a chat with AFRAA's Secretary General, Abdérahmane Berthé, about some of the key developments and trends they noted in terms of performance of African airlines so far. Take a look.
As you know, the COVID-19 hit African Airlines hard in 2020. From March 2020, airlines have to ground their aircrafts due to the closure of borders. And we have seen a drop in capacity and traffic in 2020. African Airlines carried 38 million passengers in 2020, compared to 95 million in 2019. The loss of revenues, as you said, is estimated at $10.21 billion in 2020. And obviously, 2021 will be another difficult year for our industry. We are expecting to end the year 2021 with a level of traffic around 65% of the level we had before the pandemic. And at AFRAA, we estimate the loss of revenues for the current year at $8.5 billion. And experts in the industry are estimating the restart of the industry in end of 2023 and 2024.
As you mentioned, AFRAA has been an avid advocate for direct government support for airlines and, of course, for them to create platforms to coordinate their efforts towards the survival of the industry. But given the realities that COVID-19 has presented when we talk about government's financial capabilities, what are your thoughts on the role the governments have played so far? And how do you think, given the realities, they can help going forward?
As you know, the COVID-19 has impacted not only the aviation sector, but all the economies across the continent. And since March 2020, we made appeals to government and development and financial institutions. However, the support is very slow today to materialize, and we are continuing to advocate for the support to our industry. At government level, there are many forms of support to airlines. It can be loans, it can be grant, and also it can be deferral of some taxes and charges. And also the role of a government for the restart of our industry is very, very important. They need to speed up the rollout of vaccines across the continent. As of today, less than 1% of African citizens have received the 2 doses of vaccines. If you compare to other regions in the world, this is still very, very low. And we need vaccination to for the restart of our industry. We also need to harmonize the health protocols across the continent. And we are seeing that, for example, PCR tests are very expensive in Africa when it's free in some other regions. So we are advocating also to reduce the cost of PCR tests. And also it's very important to adopt interoperable digital pass approved by the World Health Organization. And the government need also at the same time to implement the flagship projects from the African Union Commission, namely the single African air transport market, the African Continental Free Trade Area, and also the free movement protocol, which will drive the growth of aviation across the continent. And the role of a government will be also to create an environment for airlines sustainability across the continent. As you know, African Airlines were struggling with a lot of challenges even before the COVID-19. So we need to handle these challenges with governments.